This experience happened when I was in college and I was attending a class reunion. We decided to choose the farm of a classmate's family as the location of the party. The weather was very nice that day. At this farm, we decided to play a baseball game to see who could hit the ball farther. When the game started, the other students and I took turns to hit the ball on the field. Everyone swung the bat hard, hoping to hit the baseball farther. Unfortunately, I didn't do very well and I wasn't able to hit the ball very far. I lost the game. According to the pre-agreed rules, I needed to retrieve all the baseballs that were far away. The farm was surrounded by very high fences and the fences were covered with barbed wire. When I jumped from the top of the fence, I cut my palm by the sharp barbed wire. In an instant, a large amount of blood began to gush rapidly out of the wound. I couldn't go back the way I came because my palm couldn't take any more pressure. The people at the party didn't notice my condition because they were far away from me. I felt a great deal of panic. I knew I needed to get back to the party as soon as possible. When I got back to the party, I found a water source and rinsed the wound with water. When I looked at the wound, it looked a little deep and kept bleeding. I tied my shirt tightly around the wounded area, hoping to stop the bleeding as soon as possible. I have a high pain tolerance, as I have often been injured in previous sports, so I tried to stay calm. My clothes were soon soaked with bright red blood. The wound still did not stop bleeding. I told my classmates not to worry, that I would be fine, that I was strong. After a while, I realized that the situation had become urgent and that I needed to seek more professional medical help. Now I urgently needed stitches, but the nearest hospital was an hour's drive away. I kept reassuring myself that I would be fine soon and not to panic. I looked at my watch and more than an hour had passed since I was injured. Suddenly, I had a wonderful feeling in my body that started in my feet and quickly spread throughout my body. The feeling was indescribable and made me feel very strange. I told my best friend that something strange was happening, but that no matter what happened, I would be fine. Even though I had no idea what was about to happen, I tried to stay positive. Then, I felt myself getting lighter and lighter, as if I was free from my body's restraints. This feeling put me in a supernatural state. I felt myself gradually leaving my body. Finally, I entered a state that transcended the material world. I can't describe that feeling, it was beyond what humans can understand. I felt a sense of peace, and any pain or worry disappeared. Although I had left my body, I still maintained my sense of self. I had no idea what would happen next. While I was floating in the air, there were many people around my body. I didn't want to worry them, so I started shouting, "Hey, I'm right here, I'm fine." They couldn't seem to hear me. I approached one of my friends and tried to tap him on the shoulder, but he didn't respond. This made me feel more and more confused. Suddenly, I felt myself start to drift upward uncontrollably. This feeling made me feel very nervous because no matter how hard I tried, I could not change the situation. As I continued to rise, the sky turned from blue to black. There was not a single ray of light in this place, and darkness enveloped everything around. Here, time seemed to have come to a standstill. I felt as if I was trapped in a maze. In the darkness, I could feel the presence of evil, as if countless pairs of eyes were watching me. Evil spirits hovered in the air, with twisted forms and hideous faces, emitting low hissing sounds. These evil spirits gave off an evil aura that I could not bear. They kept changing their forms, sometimes transforming into monsters, and sometimes into shadowy shadows. The atmosphere here made me feel depressed and desperate. They surrounded me and tried to drag me into the abyss. I still harbored a ray of hope. I began to pray that I would continue to float upward, away from these demons. Fortunately, my prayers seemed to be answered. I continued to float upward, away from the spooky evil spirits. I continued to pray that I would find the light. A bright light appeared in the distance from me. As I entered this light, a pure energy surrounded me. The light shone on my body, giving me warmth and strength and making me feel good about life. A man in a white robe appeared in front of me. The man's gaze was warm and loving, as if he knew everything about me. "Welcome to this place." His voice was low and gentle, yet at the same time full of power. I felt accepted and understood, as if I had returned to a home where I truly belonged. "You successfully fought off those evil spirits," he continued, "and your faith and prayers have brought you here. Now, you will get the answers you want here. This man seems to be my mentor. Please follow me," he said, and turned to walk deeper into the light. Curious, I followed. We passed through a gate and then entered a completely different realm. A magnificent array of buildings unfolded before my eyes. The man led me into one of the buildings, which looked like a huge library. The shelves were lined with countless books and scrolls. The man told me that I would find the true meaning about life here. I began to explore this mysterious and wisdom-filled place. There, I learned about the importance of love and forgiveness. I learned about the universe. Learned about its origin and how it works, and our role and mission in it. Man served as my mentor and patiently answered all my questions. He helped me to broaden the boundaries of my thinking. In this mysterious library, time seemed to have no concept of existence. I gradually understood that life is a journey. Each of us is a part of the universe, carrying a unique mission and purpose. I found the answers I had been searching for in this mysterious library. Next, the man took me to a peaceful garden. The flowers emitted an enchanting fragrance. The man pointed to a distant valley and said that was our next destination. We passed through a dense forest. As we climbed, the man told me that every challenge is a gift of life, they shape our courage and resilience. It is only in the face of difficulty that we can truly surpass ourselves. Eventually, we made it to the top of the mountain. The man pointed to the sunset in the distance and said that the moment the sun sets, we should be grateful for every day of sunshine. In that moment, I felt the preciousness of life and understood the importance of cherishing and gratitude. Standing at the top of the mountain, I felt inner peace and determination. I was determined to incorporate what I had learned into every detail of my life and to impact others with kindness and wisdom. The man watched me as he encouraged me to believe in my own strength and to persevere in the pursuit of my inner truth and goodness. I looked at the man gratefully. I understood that this moment was our moment to say goodbye and that I had to return to the real world to continue my journey. The man embraced me gently. I looked at the beauty of the place and took a deep breath. I thanked the man and will always miss this precious experience. I turned around and walked towards the bottom of the mountain. Every step was so real. I felt the pain again. I knew that I was back in the real world. When I opened my eyes, my classmates were all around me. I stood up to their great surprise. I said excitedly, "You won't believe this, but I just went to another place." However, I was disappointed by their reaction. They exchanged glances with each other with confused expressions, as if they could not understand what I was saying. One of them whispered to me, "Calm down first, you need to go to the hospital now." I tried to explain again, telling them about the adventure I had just taken, but they didn't seem to be listening. They started arguing about who should drive me to the hospital. This made me feel very frustrated. I wished I hadn't returned to Earth, but remained in that place. Despite my desire to share with them, their attention was focused on my injuries. They wanted me to calm down and get proper treatment and care. My classmates were ready to drive me to the hospital. I lay in the back seat and thought back to what I had just experienced. I began to wonder if what I had just experienced was just a hallucination. The time in the car seemed to become very long. Suddenly, I felt a wave of dizziness and I lost consciousness again. This time, I left my body faster than before, as if I had traveled back in time and space in an instant, back to the top of the mountain before. The man's voice reappeared. He told me that this was not a game, and that I had to return to Earth to help the others. He promised to send me back immediately. I felt a strong force surround me and I was back in my body again. This time the return seemed to be more rapid. I was lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds and sights. I understood that I was back on Earth, back in my own life. The doctor took an antiseptic tool and carefully cleaned my wound. I closed my eyes tightly. The whole process was not too long. The doctor removed the gloves, smiled and said to me, "The wound has been treated, now you need to rest, let the body recover as soon as possible." I nodded my head and thanked the doctor. Before he left the room, I shared with him what I had just experienced. I described the mysterious place. After the doctor listened to my description, he smiled a little, seemingly with a hint of doubt. Then, he left the room. Although the doctor did not respond to me directly, I swear that the experience was real. Not only did that experience change my perspective on life, it also made me realize that everyone has a journey and a calling of their own. I know that that experience was real and meaningful to me. I will always keep this precious experience. I re-examined my relationship with my parents. When I went to college, my relationship with my parents began to become strained. I now realized that they have been quietly giving of themselves to me. Therefore, I decided to treat them with an attitude of gratitude. I began to take the initiative to communicate with my parents and listen to their ideas and opinions. I learned to respect their point of view more. This change brought more harmony to us. We understood each other better and respected each other's space and needs. This experience gave me a new understanding and perception of family, and it became a valuable asset in my life.